What's up, guys? Forgive the ghetto video here. I'm at a conference, and so this is the best that I got. But we have an absolutely insane update on Ghislaine Maxwell, and since we're actually not too far from where Ghislaine Maxwell used to be in prison, get ready, things are happening. We thought we'd record, and this recording comes as Ghislaine Maxwell has been meeting with the DOJ 20 straight hours. She met on Thursday and on Friday. She was seen going in and out of a prison in Tallahassee, Florida. Now, this is a maximum security prison, and Ghislaine Maxwell has just been moved to a minimum security prison in Bryan, Texas. Now, Bryan, Texas, why would she be going there? That rings a bell, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly where Elizabeth Holmes has gone, the Theranos fraudster. This is for white-collar crimes. You've heard perhaps some of the Real Housewives have gone to this prison. This is where you put people who you have minimum security risks for. This is a non-violent prison. This is a prison where you're allowed to roam freely the grounds. This is typically a prison that you send somebody when they're about to be released from federal custody or when they are cooperating witnesses. That's a big one right there. This is why I think Ghislaine Maxwell was just sent to this prison. This has been confirmed by the Bureau of Prisons. Ghislaine Maxwell was granted limited immunity to describe the engagements that Jeffrey Epstein had with over 100 named individuals to Todd Blanche, the second in charge at the DOJ. That limited immunity effectively has conveyed that she is working with the federal government to expose truly what Jeffrey Epstein did and what Jeffrey Epstein operation was. And nobody would know better than Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, as I've said, and I don't ever want to be accused of this, I'm not sitting here simping for Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm not sitting here saying she should be free. She is, according to all available evidence, the monster who was totally in cooperation with Jeffrey Epstein. She was the one who was recruiting these women into this entrapment operation that they had going. So I'm not sitting here saying that she's innocent. I'm saying that here, what I'm saying is she knows. She knows everything. And if the major question on the mind of every American is, what was this operation? Was it an intel operation? Was it run by the CIA? Was it run by the FBI? Were they coordinating with foreign heads of state, foreign governments, the royal family, kings, sultans, prime ministers of Israel? There's only one person who would truly be able to answer all of that, and that is Ghislaine Maxwell. She's never done an interview with the government. She's never been allowed to speak. She didn't even speak at her own trial. And so she holds the answer to all of these questions. Is she being honest with the Trump DOJ? Well, to answer that question, you have to just look at these actions. She's being moved to a prison that only houses people who are cooperating with the feds, only houses the most non-violent offenders, so that this is a posh prison to be moved to. In Bryan, Texas, this prison, you're allowed to roam the yard freely, come and go as you please. It's not like you can go out and go grocery shopping or anything, but this is effectively the best prison. It's called Club Fed. This is the best prison you could possibly be put in if you have to go to federal prison. This is the one you want to be in. And so I got to tell you, what this says to me is, if you line everything up, Ghislaine Maxwell saying she wants to testify before Congress, Ghislaine Maxwell cooperating with Todd Blanche, having multiple multi-hour meetings with Todd Blanche, Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer saying that she is cooperating fully, answering honestly, and that the feds are very pleased with what they're getting. Ghislaine Maxwell being granted immunity, right? Limited immunity to talk about crimes. Again, that immunity extends to her being able to speak freely about all of the crimes that she was involved in without fear of prosecution. That's what this is. And now this move, along with the reports that Ghislaine Maxwell has given up 100 people, whatever that means, right? There's a lot of different interpretations. But that her little black book, she's telling stories of 100 people and what they may or may not have done with Jeffrey Epstein. Will we actually get to the bottom of what is happening with Jeffrey Epstein? Also, this prison is someplace that you wouldn't go if you wanted to murder someone, all right? I know this is something that's going to be top of mind. Are they going to try and murder her, right? Virginia Roberts has been killed. Jeffrey Epstein killed. Whatever you want to say, they're dead, right? So however you think that went down, they're not with us anymore. and they were living witnesses to all of this. So yeah, these are big deals, and the feds working with Ghislaine Maxwell, again, she's no hero, okay? According to a video I'm about to play of Virginia Roberts, she's the villain in all of this, all right? But she does know everything. Now, she's supposed to be in prison till 2040. The year's 2025, she's supposed to be in prison till 2040. She's 63 years old, so she's presumably going to die in prison or be very old age by the time she gets out of prison, right? She's going to be in her 80s. Is the deal that she just spends the whole rest of the time here? Is the deal that she's about to get pardoned, right, and be set free? I don't know. Here's Alan Dershowitz saying exactly who Ghislaine Maxwell is and how important her testimony is to this case. He says she's the key to everything. And Alan Dershowitz was Epstein's lawyer, so he knows. Here we go.
Yeah, like you said, all of those names out there could be completely innocent of anything, but it's possible that they were mentioned somewhere along the line. So just to be clear, what they've asked for, the Trump administration, those grand jury transcripts, they're separate from other information that you say is sealed. Would that have to be a separate request from someone else in order to get that information you reference?
Yes, definitely. And the information that hasn't been requested is going to be far more informative and far more relevant than the grand jury information. Grand jury information is narrowly tailored by prosecutors only to provide sufficient evidence to result in an indictment. They don't want to put a lot of material in the grand jury because that would then introduced to the defendant. So what's much, much more important is discovery information, depositions, and other kinds of things that came out of the Ghislaine Maxwell case, that came out of other cases that were pending in front of federal judges. And for example, the case involving Prince Andrew, all of that should be revealed as well. And as long as there's nothing redacted about the accuser's lack of credibility, then the public has the right to make its own decision. Just because somebody's name is mentioned doesn't really mean very much.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always a good caution. You mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell. She's still got an appeal I'm tracking at the Supreme Court. But in the meantime, you suggest she should be potentially offered congressional immunity to go and testify. Do you think that would happen? And what kind of information would she have that we haven't seen?
She knows everything. She is the Rosetta Stone. She knows everything. She arranged every single trip with everybody. She knows everything. And if she were just given use immunity, she could be compelled to testify. I'm told that she actually would be willing to testify, and there'd be no reason for her to withhold any information. So I don't see any negative in giving her the kind of use immunity that would compel her to testify. So she ought to be summoned in front of a congressional committee.
Well, we'll continue to track her case. Professor, thank you for weighing in and giving us a little bit of an insider look at what you know. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And in fairness to the victims here, here's Virginia Roberts describing Ghislaine Maxwell as an absolute evil archetype and somebody who is, of course, not an innocent in any regard here. I believe Virginia Roberts in this. Ghislaine Maxwell, not the hero, but is the person who knows everything. And so if you want to get to the bottom of it, you have to ask. You might have to do a deal with the devil. We'll see. Here's Virginia Roberts.
I know that woman. I've known her really well. Put it this way. Epstein was Pinocchio, and she was Geppetto. She was the guy controlling
the strings.
Jeffrey. Yep, she was pulling the strings. She had his money. He had her contacts. But Ghislaine was much more conniving and smart than Epstein ever was.
Virginia Roberts Giuffre says she first met Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell when she was just 16 and alleges that she was forced to have sex with Britain's Prince Andrew on 3 separate occasions. She was 17 at the time. He has denied that and says it's possible this picture with his arm around her waist was doctored.
Is there any way you could have had sex with that young woman or any young woman trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein in any of his residences?
No.
Prince Andrew should be panicking. He knows he's guilty. He needs to be held accountable. We need to show the world that the rich and the mighty can fall too.
Do you think that Ghislaine's life is in danger?
Absolutely. If she squeals on some of the people that she has videos on, they won't be happy with her talking about that.
And when you say that she has videos, or she has knowledge of videos that exist about people like who? People well-known names?
Very well-known names. The government officials, the politicians, the royalty, they were taping everybody every moment when you walked into the New York mansion, to Palm Beach. Everything was being filmed.
Do you think people knew they were being taped?
No.
No.
I do not. Not at all.
Giuffre alleges Maxwell and Epstein were blackmailing the wealthy and the powerful.